In the crazy, high-stakes world of AI semiconductors, 2025 was the year that one company, SK Hynix, just shot past everyone else. So today, we're going to break down exactly how they grabbed the crown, the chaotic kingdom they have to rule now, and what it's going to take to keep it. This is the story of the battle for 2025. You know, the story of 2025 is really one of this incredible, almost unbelievable victory. But here's the thing about being king. Dominance never lasts forever. The same forces that put you on the throne, they're the ones fueling the challengers who are already knocking at the castle gates. This is a fight for the future of AI, and believe me, it is just getting started. So how did all this even happen? Well, the stage was set by a complete explosion in AI development. I mean, it was a tidal wave. All of a sudden, data centers, which are really the heart of all this AI innovation, developed this bottomless appetite for a very specific kind of computing power. And that created this massive, once-in-a-generation opportunity. But it wasn't just about throwing more processors in a box or building bigger data centers. No. The real bottleneck, the one piece of tech that absolutely everyone, from NVIDIA to the big cloud giants, was desperately scrambling to get their hands on, it was something much more specialized. A new kind of memory that could actually keep up with the ferocious speed of AI. And that engine is high bandwidth memory, or HBM. Okay, think of it this way. If a regular computer memory chip is like a winding country road, HBM is a 16-lane superhighway built right next to the AI processor. It just moves data at an incredible speed. The AI revolution simply couldn't happen without it, and the world needed tons of it, like yesterday. And this right here is where our hero enters the story. Because while a lot of other companies were just starting to gear up, SK Hynix didn't just meet the moment, they saw it coming from a mile away. They executed perfectly, and in doing so, they basically crowned themselves the undisputed kings of HBM. And man, did they move fast. Just look at this timeline from the beginning of 2025. In January, they weren't just meeting their biggest customer, NVIDIA. They were telling them their HBM development was actually ahead of what NVIDIA was asking for. Can you imagine? Then, that same month, they announced their entire 2025 production was already sold out. By the second half of the year, they were already getting ready for the next generation, HBM4. This wasn't just keeping up with the industry. This was setting the pace for the entire planet. Now, here's what's so wild about this. It's the power shift. This quote from SK Group's chairman, Che Tae-wan, says everything. It's nearly a reversal. You have to understand, for years, chip suppliers have bent over backwards to meet the demands of giants like NVIDIA. In 2025, SK Hynix was so far ahead of the curve, they were basically waiting for NVIDIA to catch up to them. That right there is what pure market dominance sounds like. And if you want to know what that dominance looks like in cold, hard cash, it looks like this. A historic year-end bonus of 15 months' salary for their employees. That's not just a good year. That is an absolutely legendary, once-in-a-lifetime kind of year. Okay, but no king gets to rule in peace, right? SK Hynix's incredible victory happened on a global stage that is just full of brutal competition, constantly shifting alliances, and these massive geopolitical storms that could sink even the biggest ship. So let's zoom out for a second and take a look at the whole battlefield. First up, the Foundry War. This is the battle to actually make the world's most advanced chips. And, I mean, just look at this table. The picture it paints is, well, it's pretty brutal. TSMC isn't just winning, it's absolutely crushing the competition with almost 65% of the market. Samsung is way back in a distant second, and Intel, a name that used to be king, isn't even in the top 10. This is so important because it shows you just how ruthless this industry is. And the contrast between the players is just night and day. On one side, you have Intel announcing massive layoffs and their foundry business losing billions of dollars. And on the other, you have TSMC expanding all over the world and pushing the laws of physics, getting ready for 2-nanometer and even 1.4-nanometer chips. It just goes to show you, what you did in the past means nothing. It's all about who's leading right now.
And if that wasn't enough, you've got governments playing this high-stakes game of chess with the global supply chain. The US-China tech war keeps getting hotter, with more export bans and blacklists. China's response? They're pouring in tens of billions, like their new $47 billion big fund, to try and build their own chips. All while the US is pushing its Made in America plan with the CHIPS Act, trying to bring manufacturing back home. If you're a global company like SK Hynix, just trying to navigate this minefield is a massive, constant headache.
And of course, you know what happens when you're this successful, right? You get a giant target painted on your back. SK Hynix's dominance and the insane profits in HBM mean the competition is waking up. And they are not just sitting around, they are mobilizing, investing billions, and getting ready for an all-out war. First step, their closest rival, Samsung. Now, even though there have been reports of some tech delays, they are not backing down one bit. They're going all in on HBM4, aiming for mass production by the end of 2025. Their goal is crystal clear. Do not let SK Hynix run away with this market. And then you have Micron, based in the US, and they are putting their money where their mouth is. We're talking about a $7 billion investment in a brand new factory just for HBM. That is not a small bet. That is a massive statement that says they are coming to play in a big way in 2026. So here's the bottom line. The HBM market used to be this quiet little corner of the industry. Not anymore. It is now the central battlefield in the global memory war, and things are heating up incredibly fast. So this all leads to the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? SK Hynix clearly won the battle of 2025. But how do they win the war? How do you defend the crown when you have determined rivals and this chaotic global stage? Well, let's take a look at their playbook for staying on top. From what we can see, their plan rests on 4 key pillars. First, and most obvious, master the next generation. They have to win the HBM4 race, and getting those samples to NVIDIA early is the first critical test. Second, they have to innovate beyond HBM. They can't just be a one-trick pony. They're developing new things like AI Mand to create the next big advantage. Third, they've got to master the geopolitical game, navigating all those tariffs and controls to keep their supply chains safe. And finally, and maybe most importantly, flawless execution. Because with competitors pouring billions of dollars into catching up, any mistake, any delay could be absolutely fatal. Look, SK Hynix's run through 2025 was a total masterclass in strategy and execution. They saw that AI tsunami coming and they rode that wave right to the top. But as we look ahead to 2026, the game board is being reset. The challengers are here, the stakes are higher than they've ever been, and the war for the future of AI is far, far from over.